Today's episode is proudly sponsored by Hellbender Vinyl. For those of you that don't know, Hellbender is a vinyl record pressing plant located right here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, doing high quality, professional, top of the line record pressing, baby. We finally got one here. There aren't very many in the world, let alone the country, and to have one right under our nose is an insane resource. So if you are a musician looking to get some stuff pressed to wax, I highly recommend checking out the folks over at Hellbender. Tell them Sykes sent you. I've always wanted to say that. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Sit back, relax, and let's start the beats. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Happy Easter Sunday.
It is happy Easter Sunday. It is happy 420.
I just got some I stopped at Government Center to get cookies, and I was just reminded that it was Easter. I totally forgot. I'm not even in
Yes. Well, Buscrates is in the building.
Yes,
Please
sir.
make some fucking noise for
Yeah.
the internet.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Good to see you, my friend.
you too.
It's been a while since you've been on the podcast.
It's been a minute, yeah.
I meant to look up when it was probably like 2015 or 2016.
Yeah, it was way before COVID and all.
Oh yeah. It was a whole different life. You know, we've lived many different
It
lives.
might have been
since
like
then.
2018, because I think 2015 I was still in Atlanta.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
it might have been like 2018.
It was still
yeah.
in the before times, before the pandemic.
2018 BC, before COVID. Yeah.
So
For sure.
real quick though, for anybody that doesn't know you, Buscrates, you are a musician, producer, DJ, music freak of all shapes, sizes, and everything,
colors, yes.
and colors.
Yes, absolutely.
And is there anything else that I'm leaving out that the people should know about you?
I think you covered the basics. You got the basics down, you know. It's all good. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. So I know that there are a lot of things to talk about here, Lord, but let's start with the current, and then maybe we'll work our way back. You just put out a new record.
I did.
So let's yap about that real quick. And
where do I
you know,
show
my man came prepared right here.
Brand new EP called Altitude on Bastard Jazz Recordings. Bastard Jazz is a label out of Brooklyn, New York City. And this was released March 21st, just 4 days shy of my birthday. It's got 6 tracks on it. And this is the first project I did. It's like the inverse of my last project. The last project I did, Control Center, had all instrumentals in one vocal track. This one has all vocal tracks and one instrumental. So yeah. And it was pressed right here at my place of employment, where I am the lead QC guy. Hellbender Vinyl. You see the sticker right here. I had to put the sticker on there to represent. You know. Yeah. There was that, and then before that, there was a single. The first single off the record, Drift, but it has a B-side called Serenity that's only available on a 7-inch. So if you want this, you got to get both.
Yeah. So, you know, you are somebody that you've been making music, producing your own music for a long time. We're both borderline dinosaurs at this point.
Pretty much, yeah.
I
still think like a dinosaur in some ways too, but I got 1 foot in the present, 1 foot in the future, and I have 15 feet in the past. So I mean, yeah, it's, you know.
Yeah, and just talking a bit more about like your process and how you do things. Like you are an analog guy. You know, this is
I am an analog guy, but let me I want to clear this up. I'm an analog guy, but I use digital as well, because I make a lot of music on my iPad too, so I don't necessarily forsake one for the other. I use them together.
Yeah.
Because I think things are a lot more interesting when you use both of them. You don't want to go all analog and you don't want to go all digital. I like the hybrid because I feel like it generates a nice little mix of sounds.
Yeah, yeah.
and they
I mean,
balance each other out in some ways too. So.
yeah. I mean, over time, I have done the same thing where
Mhm.
I embrace both, especially being somebody that's on the go a lot, having the power of being able to write something like on an iPad or a laptop
Mhm.
remotely. You got 20 extra minutes in between shifts at work or something, cook up a
Mhm.
little something, always
Exactly.
working,
Yep. Mhm.
it's very, very great because you can't, be carrying around a ton of synths on you all the
Yeah, I
time.
can't have like I can't like haul around a Fender Rhodes and a clavinet and a ARP string and just like I
Uh-huh.
can't have Herbie Hancock's whole rig on my back, walking
Yeah.
around. So yeah, iPads and stuff are nice.
So, outside of how music production has changed over time, a lot
Mm,
of other things with music have changed. Just
mm.
the tastes of like what kind of music is popular and also how we release music, which is actually where I kind of want to start this conversation
Okay,
because you're here with a couple pieces of physical media
that's right.
on wax
On wax
and,
since 2009.
getting stuff out there is interesting now because, you
Mm,
got this it's one thing to be creating music digitally and analog, but now
mm,
you also got to talk about it in an analog way and in a digital
digital
way.
way, yeah.
And I'm curious how you, being somebody with 2 feet in the present, 15 feet in the past, have adapted to
Mm.
modern technology in regards to talking about your music, getting it
Oh, I
out
love
there.
it. I embrace it, man. Like it's a part. It's a really really integral part of my process. I mean, because if you think about it, most of us, we might use like a Prophet 6 or a Mini Moog synthesizer, but we're recording it in Ableton, so it's going in the box anyway. So you just like I said, best of both worlds.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, in regards to like the social media
Mm,
aspect of things and like having to put your music out there or even just like having even getting social media outside of it, like
mm,
dipping toes into like streaming
mm,
and getting people to hear your music,
mm.
I imagine you're probably happy if anybody hears it anyway, but
Yeah.
obviously you want people to hear it on wax in like a good
I think the
space.
thing is, I want people to hear it, but I also do feel like I just feel like people should own physical media and music in general, period. Because, you know, Spotify and Apple Music and Tidal, all those companies could just go by the wayside and shut down. Then where's your music? So, but if you have a record, you can play this thing whenever you want, regardless of the situation with technology. So,
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. There's been like times where I'm like, I'm thinking about a movie that I want to watch
mm.
and I want to try to find it. And it's like, oh, this isn't available anywhere. Or
Mm-hmm.
I have to like rent it. And it's like, damn, I wish I still had that DVD. It would make
Or
things a
you
lot
might,
easier.
or you might have to pay $100 for the VHS tapes. Yeah, I mean, some things are rare like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And like, that's kind of why, I
Mm.
guess, is because these things aren't, I mean, it's cool that things are being digitally archived, but like you said, it could just go
It could just
away
go away. It's not
at
reliable.
any
It's
time.
all I think the thing is when you create a product, whether it's music or art or anything visual or sonic, once it goes into the digital realm, it can cease to exist at any moment. But if you have it physically, then it's just there until you destroy it or whatever happens. So,
Yeah. Um, and then outside of like the archival sense
mhm.
of streaming media, what is your take, if any, on like the sound quality of streaming versus listening to it on another format?
Well, I think at the end of the day, your average listener, it's kind of just it's a big blur. I mean, not everyone's an audiophile and who has an ear can say, "Oh, that's a 256 kilobyte MP3 bit rate of like no, not every people they just want to hear music.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell if it sounds it's like you can tell if it sounds good or if it sounds like crap. That's all it is. Does it sound good? Good. Okay. Does it sound like crap? Okay, let's fix it. It's not, they're not everyone is as technical with how they listen to streaming and say, "Oh, Tidal has a higher bit rate than Apple," or
Uh-huh.
comparing, things like that. But yeah.
Where are you at on this spectrum? Are you able to just listen to music as an active listener nowadays? Or do you find your producer knowledge brain getting in the way sometimes when you listen to things?
I think a little bit of both. I like to listen to music just for my enjoyment, but sometimes the producer in me will come out and say, "Well, wait a minute, that they should have turned that snare up, or they should have. Those vocals are a little loud. They should put a little compression on." That
Yeah.
my producer ear kicks in sometimes, but for the most part, I can just enjoy music like most other people.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to making music, you've made a pretty wide variety of different things. You've experimented, you've worked with a bunch of different people, you've collaborated with a lot of different people. I'm curious if there's like anything that Buscrates hasn't done yet that Buscrates really wants to do.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you asked that, because I came here to talk specifically about that too. Okay, so I'm going to go back a little bit. When I first started making beats, I'd say within like maybe like the third or fourth year of making beats, I wanted to have, I had an MPC 2000 XL around 2004, 2005, whatever. And I was always, I was in my room chopping up records, making beats. And I always wanted to just have like a person, like Gangstar or Pete Rock and CL Smooth, or there's like a duo, like I do the beats and they do the rhymes or the vocals, or if he's a singer or something. I always wanted to have a duo, because I feel like it just adds to the dynamic of what I do. And to have two people in the mix doing something. So if there's any vocalists out there who want to pair up with Boogie Bus, just give me again, slide in the DM, say, hey, I got something for you.
Yeah. So I think that maybe we may have talked about this the last time you were on the show. I don't remember though, but you as a lyricist, vocalist, MC, anything.
Oh man.
Do you? What's the story there? You had to have. Has to be something.
There is.
Everyone's written at least 116.
Oh. There's stuff out there. I'm not gonna tell you where. You got to go find it. There's stuff out there. But it's funny because as much as I try to hide it, the people who have heard it, they're like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you not? You should rhyme more. You should bust out more 6. And I've been thinking about that. So you never know. I might bust out again. I mean, like, I already know how to make the music. I can make the beats. I haven't written anything in a long time or so, but it's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible. Yeah.
That'd be fun. And then, another thing that you...
And then, check it out, one more thing too.
I got you.
I can rhyme, and then I could back myself up on my vocoder. Because I got the Roland VPO3, the one that emulates the old 330 vocoder from the late 70s, early 80s. I could, kind of do like there's a song called, let me see, Boogie Down Bronx. I think it's Man Parish, where it's the MC is rhyming. It's from 84. The MC is rhyming, and there's a vocoder melody behind him, like saying exactly what he's saying, but melodically. So like the guy's rhyme is like a regular, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I'd never heard that done before or since.
Yeah.
So that's something like that could happen.
Whenever you started getting into producing stuff and like, what was
Man Parish, that's who it was.
Yeah.
Boogie Down Bronx. Yeah.
When you started, is there like one thing that is like really fascinating about you to me is just like your general knowledge of like the real nerdy stuff. Breaking down like synthesizers, specifics that were used on specific records. I'm curious if there's like one particular like song or album or whatever that it was like, I need to know what was used on this, or was it more just like getting engulfed in the culture as a whole and you started learning?
I think it's a mixture of both on that end, because even now there's certain things that I know that I can't really explain or put into words. Like I could listen to a record and hear somebody play a bass line on a synth, and usually I could go, that's an ARP Odyssey, or I could go, that's a Mini Moog. That's definitely a Mini Moog. There's just certain things that I just am in tune with and that I notice and that I can hear that it's just difficult to put into words because I don't have the vocabulary behind it. But
sure, but
it's just
there wasn't maybe like a particular like album that you heard that you remember listening to for the first time and like needing to be like, what is this? Or is it more like you start getting into experimenting with these synths yourself?
Exactly.
And then once you learn what they sound like, you hear them in records.
Exactly.
Got
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Right on point.
Uh-huh.
Right on point. Yep.
Yep.
Mhm.
So with a lot of like modern, I guess it's weird to call, like, I don't even know what modern music production is anymore, because you
Mhm.
have so many new producers that are trying to emulate old sounds
Mhm.
and old artists that are trying to emulate new
New sound.
sounds. And it's
Mhm.
like a weird melting
Mhm.
pot of stuff.
Mhm.
But I'm curious if there are any like modern production techniques, if you even like try to keep up with whatever modern music is,
Mhm.
that you are a fan of and that you're excited about, that maybe didn't exist throughout like the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s.
I mean, just simply being able to have an entire studio's worth of stuff on a computer. Because you got to think, back in those days, everything ran on tape, and if you effed up a take, then and you want another take, you got to pay a lot of money to get more tape. Whereas in a computer, you could just delete, okay, record it again, delete, okay, record it again, okay, keep that one, try it again, record this pass, time to get. There's just so much more flexibility with the modern technology
Yeah.
that I really like to incorporate it in my production. I mean, I do have, don't get me wrong, if my computer broke, I do have a 4-track cassette recorder at home that I can mess around with and put out some dirty lo-fi stuff. You know, I'm pretty flex. I got my arsenal. You see my house.
Yeah.
My arsenal is pretty strong.
Yeah. With collecting gear and like using gear, you know, you're somebody that, again, as you've said, I've seen I've seen it. I've been there. You know, I'm curious if there's like any gear that you have that you find is like, I don't know, like a must have for anybody that is like looking to get into producing with analog equipment. What would be like one thing?
What is my one thing? Ooh, this is, man, this is a tough one, y'all. Let me think about this for like a couple seconds. What do I have? I'm trying to think in terms of my workflow. What would I use the most? It's like a particular piece of gear.
So I guess another way I could put this too, maybe it might make it easier to answer the question.
Okay.
Because obviously, as you said, we can have a whole studio in our computer now.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, I mean, you can get away with a lot without having any analog gear.
Yeah,
but
you can.
Is there one piece of equipment that you think that absolutely cannot be replicated digitally, that you have, that you feel like, you know, if you want to have something analog, like you can't get this on a laptop, you need this piece?
Ooh, I would probably have to say, I've had my Rhodes electric piano since 2011, and I've tried different little plugins and VSTs and things, and nothing's really come close to that particular sound for me. I do have a reface CP that I like to use for that kind of stuff sometimes, but a Rhodes, something like a Rhodes or a clavinet or something like that, those are really difficult because I can hear the different nuances in the real one versus the VST.
Sure.
But I will say this though, the gap between analog synthesizers and VST emulations of those synthesizers is really small now.
I agree.
It's real. I mean, it's like, to the average listener, it will probably be indistinguishable. There's so many different, different companies like Arturia and a company that I'm really close with, Cherry Audio. They make really great emulations of like vintage synths, and they make some of their own like original synths too. But yeah, it's just so like, if you can't get a $3,000, $5,000 mini Moog, you could just get one. You can get the Cherry Audio version. You can get the Arturia version. You can even get it on your iPad. I mean, there's so many different, there's so many ways around that. And it also depends on how you process your sounds, because you can take the most digital sounding VST or sound or whatever, run it through some analog style plugins, or even like we were talking earlier, your Chroma console we could run stuff through that and kind of like make it, fuller, thicker, and
Yeah.
there's so many. I mean, I think right now we are in probably the best time for like music making gear and equipment and stuff.
Yeah.
Aside from the economic damage we're facing now, but that's a whole nother can of worms I won't open. But just in terms of the technology and what exists and what we have at our disposal, these times right now are pretty nice, especially considering I know I don't, maybe you, nobody has $25,000-$30,000 to buy a Jupiter 8.
No.
That's like a down payment on a house. So you don't have to go that far. You could, get you a nice computer, get you a nice spec'd out MacBook, nice little MIDI controller, maybe a couple analog synths on the side here or there, and then off to the races, man. I mean, your only limitation is your imagination, really.
Definitely.
So you can take the small. I've heard records that are just, I mean, okay, I can use this as an example. What's that? Wham! Everything She Wants. That is literally a Lindrum and a Juno 106, 2 things, and some vocals. That's it. That's the whole song. So it's all about how you use your tools. You can maximize your tools to, to be effective if you don't have like a whole bunch of stuff like we do. But
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I think that there's a lot of ways to go about getting deeper into this topic. What you just said, obviously, if you have a good song, you don't need much.
Right.
You can, if you got good strong rhythm, chord, melody,
you're good.
You're good. But going
sometimes
back,
less is more.
Exactly. Yeah. It actually, in most cases, it is.
I need to tell myself that sometimes. Sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, I'm gonna layer this synth. I'm gonna put this here. I'm gonna," and I'm just, but yeah.
It's when your like producer brain and the ability to almost play God in the DAW just gets out of control.
It gets out of control. And another thing too about that is, since I primarily make music, alone now by myself, I feel like when I'm making stuff, I have to like fill it up with a bunch of stuff to keep it interesting because I don't have any other, people around me. But when I, that's why I was saying like, it'd be nice if I had somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? So, as somebody that also composes a lot of music by myself too, one thing that really helped me get out of it still exists, but get out of the over layering things is sometimes I'll just like look at the DAW, look at the tracks and be like, okay, if this was a band, how many motherfuckers would be on stage right now? I can't have 26 people on stage.
You'd have like 15 Wu-Tangs up on the stage. Yeah.
So sometimes it's like, if you think about it in that context,
that's a great,
start
I like
stripping
that.
things down.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And
man, wow. I love this conversation so much. This is, wow. Man, yeah.
But
exactly.
Yeah, and then going back into the conversation about VSTs versus analog, I love the idea of like the Rhodes or something along those lines, because those are instruments that really, everything from like your sensitivity of how hard you're playing when you're playing, especially if you're doing chords, because in a chord, every single note isn't being held with the same
amount of velocity,
yes, and things like that.
Yes.
So that's what makes digitally doing that stuff really hard.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of the synth stuff, especially some more of like your monophonic sounds and stuff like that, that's all, there's no velocity. We're just all.
You can do velocity because they got all the MPE and all this other stuff, but like just for the basic, like a basic
usually
synth lead, you can do like whatever. Yeah.
Usually for those types of sounds, that's not exactly what you're looking for,
right,
depending on what you're producing. Usually you want something that's very
straightforward, cutting through. Yeah.
So
look at this. I love it.
But yeah, so I think that, you get the same thing where I've seen like MIDI guitar emulation, and even that is like, of course it sounds.
Yeah, and then they have guitar synthesizer things and stuff. It's like where you can play a guitar and make it sound like a synth. Yeah, there's all kind of different wild stuff out there.
So fun. Stepping outside of the realm of composing music, creating music, I want to talk a bit with you about DJing music.
Okay.
Sharing music with the world, and things like that. What You DJ a lot.
I'm DJing right after I leave here. As soon as I leave here, I've got to go to a gig.
So what is like your ethos with DJing? Because there's a lot of different avenues that people could take when it comes to DJing shows. Sometimes it's like, oh, this is my fucking set and you're gonna like it, or else. Or you just kind of like, I'm just showing up to basically be
a human jukebox,
a vibe for the party, right? What do you prefer in this realm?
I mean, for me, and I talk to my people about this all the time. I feel like at this point in my life, whenever I'm DJing, and given the track record I have and like whatever reputation I've gained over the years after, rocking sets here, there, and everywhere, I feel like when somebody books me or reaches out to me to do something, I want them to get me. I don't want them to get me to be a playlist. If you're going to do that, you might as well just set up Spotify or Pandora or whatever and just let it run, because there's a personality and a vibe and there's a lot of like human aspects behind what it is we do that you won't get from a playlist.
Yeah.
But and then as far as media, like I like to DJ a lot with 45s and like vinyl records, but I also, there's a convenience aspect. Like even just now, I was talking to you earlier, I was saying Roland, the SP404 thing, they came out with something now where you can just plug your 404 into your computer and run Serato off of that, and it's mapped out control. That's what I'm using today, actually. Just, because it's convenient. I could just get on my bike, throw it in my bag, and just be out. There's a convenience aspect to DJing too. But I mean, even, regardless of what media you use, I think just the selection and how you, weave things together and like all of that is a very personal thing that you can't really get from AI.
Of course not.
So
yeah, because like I think that it's like really important. Obviously, if you don't like the music, don't DJ it.
Right.
So it's like, okay.
And I stand on that heavy.
Yeah, and you have like a very good knowledge of like the stuff that you're spinning. So like in your brain, you're already known like, oh, I could go from A to B, but also you are looking around the room and you're like, you know what, maybe we're gonna go from A to E today. Like we're gonna switch it up because
there might be some evidence of that. I might.
Yeah, I believe you. But it's like, I know that like whenever I go out, I'm more of like the hang out, talk with some friends, get a drink. I'm having a good time, but it might not be evidenced in any sort of a photograph. I'm sure any photograph you would see of me at the party, I'm just kind of probably just like, but I'm having a good time. I'm having a great time.
Post up. That's the post up.
I'm just having a good time in my own way.
Yeah. For sure.
With performing original music live, what does that tend to look like for you when and if you ever do
that? Is like one of my favorite things ever in the world to do, and I haven't been able to do it yet, but I've been in the process of retooling what my live set looks like. It's usually an SP404 Mark II and like a couple of synths and me like playing some beats and twisting effects and playing some live synths and stuff over top of it. But I think I want to take it a step further. I recently got an MPC Live 2, the retro one, what it looks like the old school one. Quick story about that. Back in what, February, March? One of them, I forget when it was. I think it might have been like early March. I was in New York. I went up there for to go see the Mad Love LA show they had up there, because Mad Love had a fundraiser for, he lost the fires in California and all that. I went up there and had fun. I came back because I had I used to have an MPC 1 Plus, the red one. How about I get on the Greyhound, come home, I go to my car, I get my stuff, I go to my car, I'm like, oh no, I left my MPC 1 on the Greyhound and it's gone.
Oh no.
I was sick at myself because I was so groggy and tired. I took an overnight bus. I was so groggy and tired. It was like, I was like, oh shoot. Then I had to like, it's like, I'm not even gonna like waste time getting like too upset about this. I'm just gonna just sit back, save up some bread, and then get a better one. And I got the Live 2 now. So you just gotta, but anyway, back to what I'm saying. I want to have my Live 2 as the brain and run that out MIDI to, certain synths and have that going and, do some stuff on the fly live, kind of effects pedals and stuff like that. There's a set that I really want to put together. I got it in my head, but I haven't been able to actually sit down and plan it out and wire it up and try to, do like a practice run. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a practice run. I might even turn on the cameras and stream it or something just to,
Yeah.
I think that'll be fun.
Yeah. I support that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
I mean, like, even if you don't like stream it, you could still record it
and put it up.
You have stuff to share,
Right.
It's content.
Yeah, we need content these days.
You got to constantly remind everybody that you're alive.
Yeah, exactly.
On the internet,
Yep.
I've talked about this before. I really enjoy social media. It has its downfalls. Don't get me wrong.
It does. Yeah, it does. I got
but it is
scars from that.
I mean, it's a great tool for connecting with people.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish that there was a better place just for like sharing art.
I agree. I agree.
Like, I know it's so easy to romanticize that, and it's never gonna happen.
It's never gonna happen.
But it would be nice.
It would be nice.
I would take like if I had like some tiny little social media thing that was only for artists and people that were interested in interacting with art. Even if I only had like a couple hundred fucking followers, I would be happy to have a small group.
But you got a nice stack though. What are you, like 12 something, 13 something, 13K, something like that? You up there?
Yeah, but it's like the issue with that is that like the amount,
they all won't see it.
Well, all of them don't see it, and everybody's there. A lot of those people were there for different reasons.
Yes,
because I do 1,000 fucking things. I play in 4 different bands. I DJ. I do this podcast and like art. So it's just like not everybody is there
for the same
the same thing.
Yeah.
And
you know what? That's true. I think I need to take that in consideration more, because even I've been fighting with this for a while. Like, sometimes I think a lot of people know me more for my DJing than they do for my music, and a lot of people know me more for my music than they do my DJing. So there's always that battle going on, and I'm trying to lean more back in towards my own music and making production and making stuff, because there's so many DJs out here. There's so many DJs.
Well, I mean, there's so many people in general.
There's so many people in general,
doing everything. But and I think I need you to remember this. There's only one fucking Buscrates.
Oh man, my brother. Thank you so much. Yeah, and I think that's what you just said there. I think that's another reason why I feel like I want to lean more into my own production, because when I do stuff, I only can do it the way that I do it. No one else can. You could have I could leave my house and let somebody in my room for a month and let them make stuff. It's not going to sound like how I would make it.
Yeah, of course not.
I have a certain certain stamp.
That would be that's such a, not to get sidetracked, but that would be such a fun concept where like if like the whole, like you do like a split project, right? With 2 producers, and the gimmick is that they only use each other's studios.
Other stuff.
And see what happens. That's a fun idea.
That is a fun idea.
Yeah.
But I think they should be studios of equal footing, because
Yeah,
you don't want to get my room or your room, and then you go to their house and they have like a Casio, like a SK1. You know,
Hey, I'll do my best to make that Casio slap. You know. Hey, that's you can always, there's something to be said about like writing music for the instrument.
Yeah.
Like with what you have.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, I mean, that's gonna get into a whole nother can of worms about intention and why we make the stuff that we do, and how that ends up building out like your studio. Like very much like my space has been built out to the very specific type of music that I make. Right. And yours in the same way.
Mine is kind of chaotic right now, but we won't talk about that.
But I think for some people it's just like, especially if you're just like mainly a laptop producer, maybe that's like, maybe you might not ever need anything else.
Right.
You might not need to
you could operate entirely in the box.
sounds good. It just needs juice.
It needs some dirt, some grit, some grit.
Yeah. It's like, it's interesting how much the imperfections in pretty much any style of music, I think, are what end up really gluing it together.
Yeah. But what's funny about the what you brought up with the imperfections thing is, a lot of us, myself included, I think, with a lot of, the research of what they call lo-fi or whatever, all that stuff, I feel like some of us are chasing things that people before us were trying to get away from. I mean, if you think about it, like there's plugins that emulate cassette tape noise, and there were people back then like, oh, it's so hissy. We want a lot of that stuff, and they're like, oh man, yeah, no, we were trying to get rid of that. They're trying to get rid of like hiss and
the
like
grass is always
crackle.
greener.
Yeah, the grass is always greener, but when you get to the other side, you find that there's a bunch of shit in that grass.
So yeah, that's. But I think there's like a sweet spot, right? Because I think that, like, obviously you don't want something to sound, you want things to be clean, but if something is too clean and too transparent, it doesn't even sound real.
Yeah, I noticed that, like, when
I feel the same way about like movies. Like, I don't like HD restorations of things. It's like, I don't need to be seeing all this like this.
Every single pixel, just
and like it's cleaned up so much that you can like, now you could see the strings that were holding things, and it's like, it's like you need sometimes it's like the strings need to be there, but it's okay to kind of blur them out.
That makes it more real.
Yeah,
I think that makes it a lot more realistic to me. And I think like just the whole clean sound started. I think for me that all started like in the mid to late 80s, when analog was starting to like be phased out, and people started using DX7s and all these digital synths, and everything just sounded so digital and clean and thin, and it was just like, where's the punch? But now look, it's reversed, it's turned the other way. In 1985, you could probably get a mini Moog for like $100 or something. People were getting rid of that stuff and giving it away. Now you try to get like an original mini Moog from the 70s, you're probably talking like 8 racks. Yeah, so it's funny how the tides have, the things have shifted back the other way. They're like, oh, we're going digital. No, we're going this way. Oh, we're streaming. Oh no, we want vinyl. Oh, it's just I don't know.
I think that it's like a part of, I suppose, human nature
Mhm.
to always want what you don't have.
Yes.
And to never stop and be thankful for what you do have in the moment.
That's a word. Yeah.
Always chasing the next thing.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think too, like if you combine that with the creative mind
Mhm.
and like, I'm like also like a skeptic, and I never like if I like put something together and it happens easily, if I don't have to like grind over it,
Rack your brain over
I'm
it.
like, oh, it can't be good.
It was too easy.
Yeah, it can't be good. But like sometimes things just happen. I'm really trying to like
Yeah, you gotta
let
accept
go of that.
sometimes things just come to you naturally quickly.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes you 2 days to come up with something,
And
just,
like, yeah, and it's like also too, I think that like people, if there's anything that is kind of a downfall to a lot of the in the box VST stuff, is that I feel like it's really it makes it very easy for people to not chase their own sound, because everything sounds good and it sounds like the records that
right.
right? And it's like, okay, so that's right, but it's missing that little
There's a
characteristic of things.
personalization to it that's not
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
So you get a lot of stuff that just sounds
Pretty run of the mill, just like
homogenized. It's
yeah,
all
exactly.
just like,
Mhm.
and so I fear that it's really easy to not develop a sense of identity
Mhm.
if you're working it only in the box. I mean, there's millions of
Mm.
plugins to fucking choose from,
Right.
but and I guess the ones that really fucking care, the nerdy ones
Yeah.
will figure it out.
Oh, we always do.
Curiosity is gonna
We always do. I
open it
mean,
up.
we always figure it out, man. I mean, like I'm always a student of this stuff, man. Like, and I think the fact that I'm always a student and I'm always open to learning stuff and incorporating new ideas into what it is I do, I think that's part of what helps make me stand out a little bit. You know what I mean? That's how you achieve originality. You basically take things that and then you inject you inject yourself into that. Like, how would you do this, that, or whatever. Like my good friend C Scott, he's one of them dudes, man. Like he's very much a student of the game, and he has all of this. He's like a little me, but just it's so funny, man. Like yeah, Charlie, man. Yeah.
Shout outs to C Scott.
C Scott, that's my dude. Yeah.
With producing music, for yourself, or maybe producing music for other people, or maybe collaborating, do you have anything cooking right now that you're excited about, that you're working on?
I haven't really been working on too much music. Like I'm just trying to like figure out what's going on here. Like I don't know if you know, but like back March 30th, I lost my mom.
I didn't know that. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, she 5 days after my birthday, she passed. So I've been kind of like circling, and grieving that, while trying to, hold myself together in terms of, music and things. And I think that's helping me, get through this part. Like even just being here is kind of like really helping me get through this, because I get to nerd out and bug out. But
Yeah.
so I'm actually planning a future project, dedicated to my mom's. But
Of course.
but I do have a project waiting in the wings, completely done with Moma Nadon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I'm just waiting for some red tape to clear up. Once that clears up, I'll that can come out, and then even just right now, I think once I excuse me, once I start setting up my studio again, which I'm doing now, once it's finally done and neat and nice and looks beautiful like yours here, I want to start, reaching out to people and collaborating with people and inviting people over. And I just want to branch out and just do more music with people, just even locally, because I mean, obviously internationally, we can, trade files and all that stuff, but I just want to be able to like be with people and like vibe with people, because,
Sure.
Especially now, losing a parent, you kind of want to have some sort of connection, because,
Sure. It's a very hard reminder of like mortality.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And like, for me, it's so easy to get caught up these days in the hubbub, going back to social media, of like trying to get your work out there to people, always trying to meet new people in different cities. Cause like, like I want to make some connections so I could play shows here, or make some connections so I could get my music released here. Like you're always moving and stuff, but like there's like a community that's here.
Right.
And like, you know, also like,
and I don't think I've tapped into it
being
enough,
like,
you know?
and like not knowing, like not, it's again, like not being like grateful for like what you have, or even like even acknowledging that it's here.
Oh yeah.
it's like,
I've acknowledged this here for a while, but I just never was able to
totally
like really tap. So this, I guess you could say this is kind of like me opening the door, say, hey, hit me up.
Yeah.
You know,
hit them up. But yeah, no, I think community for me, like I mean, community has always been a huge thing for me, local community. It's the whole reason why I started this podcast and why I'm still doing it now. 500 and what, this will probably be episode 526.
Oh wow,
quite a lot.
That's a lot.
Quite a lot of talking. But and that's the thing, is like, sure, some of those people that have been on the show have been on a couple times, so it's not like 526
different people,
unique conversations, but it's still,
but I mean,
hundreds. I ain't running out of people to talk to.
No, not at all. But I think also, even taking, you know, I was on here before, but the conversation is completely different. So much time has passed, and so many things have happened, and perspectives changes, and you know, new ideas come about. So it's almost as if you're talking to two different people in a way, if you think about it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like, I know that like I wasn't the same person then. You know, like life has, as it should. It changes, you learn, you grow, you experience things.
Here's a question for you.
What?
Have you ever done a song and like for instance, I'll give you an example of what I did. I did a track like 10 years ago, and I somehow found it on my hard drive, and I took that track and I just started like adding, I remixed it and made it better and added stuff to it. It's almost like you're collaborating with your younger self. Have you ever done anything like that?
You know what? I have, but I never thought about it through the lens of collaborating with your younger self. That's really fucking cool. No, there's definitely been a couple tracks that like I've kind of like recycled and reworked that I ended up like putting out, later. Yeah, that's happened before.
I think that's a great thing to do, man, because it's really good too for if you're stuck in a rut creatively, and then you just happen to reach back into the archives and say, hey, wait a minute, I remember this. Oh, I kind of like this. I should, and then you start rolling.
It's wild too, to like, I can't tell you off the top of my head how many songs and albums I've released throughout the course of my life. I have no fucking idea. It's a lot. But I know 95% of that stuff is shit that people don't remember. And I'm not saying that to like talk down on myself. It's just the reality of the situation. You know what I mean? Like I never had any huge radio hits or anything like that. Like, I play shows locally, I play shows regionally, but being in like the realm that I'm in, I don't play old songs live because like I'm not an artist that's playing 90-minute sets when I play shows, you know what I mean? It's like I'm still doing that 30, 35, 40-minute thing. So I always want to play the newest music. So stuff just gets
swept to the side.
But I mean, there's like 15 years of stuff, and like sometimes I'll go back through. Recently, I had a friend from high school hit me up asking about if I still had some tracks that we had made back in the day. And I was like, yeah, I have them. I gotta go, I'd like go through, like I have like a booklet of like old CDs and shit. This was even before hard drive shit. I was like burning stuff to CDs because I only had so much space on my computer's hard drive. So I went and I found him. I'm like listening to all this stuff again. I was like, holy shit. Like
what kind of CD burner did you have? You remember what you had?
It was whatever was in the tower. I had like an old Windows 95 IBM tower. Actually, I still have the computer. It's sitting over there. It's not plugged in, but I still have it. It's the first computer with like the first DAW I ever had on it. But yeah, the hard drive only had 8 gigs.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
I bet if you plug that computer in, probably
So before I moved here, before I moved all my recording stuff here in my old setup, I still had that computer plugged in.
Wow.
So you could turn it on and it works fine.
That's all that matters.
But yeah, now I haven't turned it on in a while, but I imagine it probably still works fine. But anyways, it was just like, yeah, me listening to this stuff that we made. Like, it was funny because like I like pulled up all of the stems. So I had burned all the stems.
Oh, separately.
All this, yeah, all separately. So I loaded up all the stems into my DAW, and I was like fucking around and like remixed one of the tracks just for fun. But it was like, you see like the date created. It was like November 2006. You know, I'm like, holy shit! Like, this is almost 20 years old.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was funny because like going back, it was just like, you know, like all things considered, didn't sound bad. You know, it's like there's no like, the only thing that I did when I was like fucking around with mixing it is like, oh, just being a little bit smarter with like general compressions and
that's the thing.
And things like that.
That's the thing about collaborating with your younger self is like, it's in a way you're in a way you're looking back and teaching your younger self like, okay, I like what you did here, but you should probably maybe push this down and compress this, and you know, you have more, you know more, you have more knowledge, and you're able to, you know.
And there's also too, like, just from like a lyrical perspective, it's interesting to go back and listen to some of the things that I was writing then. It's cute in some ways because it's like, you didn't fucking know anything, you little child. But also there's some things where it's like, oh, there was like actual angst and anger there.
Yeah.
Where now
there's
it's
a
like
feeling.
I'm saying, I mean, obviously there's still a lot to be fucking mad about in the world.
But
it's a lot. It was a lot fucking. It hit different when I was fucking 18 versus being 39. You know what I mean? I've lived twice my life since then.
Yeah.
You know, it's like fucking crazy,
dude. I am 3 years from 50.
Hey, happy birthday!
3 years from 50, bro. Like, man, that's a hell of a thing to think about too. But I'm not there yet, so I'm gonna enjoy this.
Yeah, you know, this is so this is the last. I'm in the last year of my 30s. You know, so I'll be hitting the big 40. But I remember the 30, and it was fine.
Is there 3? I remember my 30 too. Matter of fact, I think I might have had a party at Shadow Lounge. Yeah, I think I did. Yep, I remember that.
Yeah.
Back in the good old days.
Yeah, it's. I mean, there's a few things. You know, in general, I'm a little bit older, so I don't know what a lot of the younger demographic is doing, especially in terms of like the hip hop, R&B, jazz adjacent pockets of the Pittsburgh scene. I know they exist, but I don't know where. And it's just like, it's still insane to this day how like losing Shadow Lounge really seemed to just kind of dissipate those communities.
That still hurts, man. Like, we just thinking about it, we just didn't know how good we had it at the time, man. We just didn't know. It was kind of just the thing we were doing, and it was here, and then we had no idea it was just gonna be gone like that. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of, you know, younger, you know, talent out here. I want to actually connect with some of them. I like to, you know what's going on around. I mean, I don't know, but I like to find out.
Yeah, I know that there's definitely talent. My question is like, I just don't know like if there's like a hub for that talent that's consistent, like a space for them to link up and meet. Like, I remember like,
it's pretty scattered,
like being like 19 and going to like the beat battles at the Shadow Lounge and stuff like that.
Ryan
like,
Cal and all that.
You meet like other MCs and other producers, or just people that are maybe neither. They're just fans of the community and friends of friends. And like, it was cool to be able to link up, you know?
Yep.
Now when I see, I do sometimes have like, younger hip hop artists that hit me up and come on the show. And when I ask them about where they're playing, it's always like some pop-up type of situation. No like club seems
there's no
really
home
want to
for
like
it.
host it.
Yeah, there's no home for it. It's kind of like get in where you can, you know.
Yeah, and it's like really hard for it grow. And the
Mhm.
other thing too is a lot of the younger generation, from my understanding, they're not even that concerned about the local community.
Mhm.
It's more about like just putting stuff online and
Trying to
music videos and streams and the
Mhm.
whole live performance aspect of it. The community aspect
Community
doesn't
aspect,
really
right.
seem to be as needed because they
Mhm.
have their community. They're just
On the internet.
online.
Mhm.
And hey, if that's doing the same thing for them that the Shadow Lounge
Yeah.
did for us,
Then
I'm not going to be a
yeah.
curmudgeon about it.
Mhm.
But again, in the same way
It's
that like
different. It's
there's
just
the
different.
digital versus analog with a synthesizer, I still think
Mhm.
a digital versus analog community, you're missing a lot
Mhm.
too without having the
It's different.
yeah,
Mhm.
not having the reality of a
Mhm.
real community.
Yep.
So you're DJing here today.
Mhm.
Not here, but you're
Mhm.
what are
Yeah.
you doing? Where are you going?
I'm doing something over at Bad Sauna. It's they're having like a final thing. I think they're moving or something. So
Okay.
yeah, they're having a final thing. I'm gonna do that from 2 to 6. So
Hell yeah.
yeah.
So
This will be my first time out rocking my SP404 with Syrah. I've never tried this in public before, really. So
yeah,
I toyed with it a little bit. It's pretty fun.
with you and DJing digitally being somebody that primarily prefers like 45s,
Mhm.
which then obviously limits your pool of stuff that you can work with.
Mhm.
Are you thinking about using any of this digital catalog to your advantage to maybe spin some type of stuff you normally wouldn't have access to?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I think when I play 45s, I kind of like that limitation, that limited pool of stuff because it makes it easier for me to avoid certain requests. A Tribe Called Request can't hound me, say.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But
Yeah, I remember like I typically will DJ digitally when I do DJ, but I do some like heavy metal nights sometimes it will be all vinyl, and that's always like it's refreshing to be like, oh, I actually don't have that record. But I always like feel bad turning somebody down. You know, I want to be able to make everybody happy.
I think the thing though is if somebody requests something and it's within reason, sure. But
Yeah.
like I remember one time I was playing like a hip hop night or a funk night or something, and somebody asked me for something that was like way out of the realm of
Sure.
what I'm like, yeah, we're not doing
Taylor
that.
Swift.
Yeah, something like that. I was like, we're not doing that.
Yeah. It's there's a conversation to be had about like it's one thing if like there's a group of people dancing, they make a request for something that's like on brief. It's like you're having fun. I'll play this. Hell yeah, let's go.
Mhm.
But then there's like there's those people that just want it to be about them,
Mhm.
and they have no. It's like
No concept.
You
They're
see the
stuck.
whole room right
Mhm.
now. Like, what do you think is happening?
They're not reading the room. Yeah.
Last time I was DJing at Burlo Box, there was a room was packed. Everybody's vibing, having a good time. This girl comes up to me and she's like, hey, can you play something that people know?
That is one of my biggest pet peeves.
And
right
I'm
there.
like, do you see the room?
I do not like that.
Yeah, don't be fucking rude.
Yeah.
You know, like go home and hang out with your Amazon Alexa.
Right.
Ask it to play your music.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck, you know, it's just
that,
like
that annoys me to no end.
yeah, just like don't like what you
and who are you to determine what people know?
Yeah, look at the fucking room.
Yeah, read the room. Read the room. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I'm sorry that your friends maybe brought you out to something that, you know, you weren't expecting or whatever, but that ain't my problem.
That ain't my problem. Yeah.
You know,
not my problem.
You know, like that's the thing is like, sure, there's plenty of DJs in the city. There's plenty of clubs. There's always any given Friday or Saturday night. There's a dozen different events you can go to.
Yeah, you can go get ratchet anywhere.
There's something for everybody. Find the one that you want to go to and go to that one. Don't come to my shit and
that.
expect it to be something else. It's like, you want that, go over to Cobra, go down to Belvedere's, whatever. It ain't happening here tonight.
Yep.
Sorry.
Straight up. Flat out. Yeah.
But you know, it's fun. I enjoy DJing and just like being able to provide, what I feel is like a good service to the community, a good vibe.
Do you ever DJ on like Twitch or anything?
No, no. I don't think that because the stuff that I do that I more specialize in with DJing is more like kind of like themed nostalgia type of parties, where I think that it doesn't really, I don't really get too creative in a lot of the sets that I do in terms of I will fuck around and I'll mash things up sometimes and do some fun blends and transitions. But a lot of the time, nobody wants to hear my creative take on their favorite song. So I got to be very picky and choosy about when I get creative and when I don't.
Twitch is like a haven for remixes,
that's
edits,
the thing.
And all of that.
So
they would probably eat that up for you. You would have a field day. That seems like, I feel like I'm out of place sometimes because that's not my strong point. I'm not the guy who's going to play, a remix of a well-known song, or I do remixes and stuff like that, but there's people who just primarily just do that, and that's a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, I don't know. I just I've done some of the, again, with the vinyl heavy metal stuff. I did stream that, and that was fun. But I really just want to focus my energy on doing stuff in person, really.
I'm the same, man. I'm the same. I still stream every once in a while. I don't stream as much as I used to, but yeah, I think I want to lean. I've been saying this forever, but I think I want to lean more into doing production streams, just because that's just where I feel at home, quite literally at home. I got it set up where I'm going to have, the camera angle is going to be straightforward, and you'll see me, and you'll see me surrounded by a couple of synths, and me.
Yeah, and just streaming you working.
Exactly.
Cooking.
Yeah, cooking. And I need to actually invest in one. Is this a SM57B?
Yeah, it's a SM7B.
Yeah, I need to invest in one of these. These are the way to go.
If you want a decent vocal mic that's capable of pumping pretty much, it's really good at capturing just about anything. You can get nerdy about frequency ranges and tonal things that different capsules capture. There is a difference between this and a fucking 4K fucking Neumann or something, right? But for the kind of stuff that I do, which is all a little bit more aggressive anyways, these are perfect because you can
what is it, about 300?
They're 350, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
You can just scream in this fucking thing and it will not clip. They are really, really good at capturing harsh vocals or really intense stuff. And I don't know, they work for me.
Okay. I will definitely put some bread up towards this.
Yeah. And they have the newer ones too, because there's, because with these, you got to get a mic activator, use a cloud lifter or something to boost them.
To boost it up, yeah.
But they make the new ones
that Phantom Power.
Yeah, they make the new ones that have it built in.
Oh, okay.
But they're an extra, I think they're maybe $50 or something more. But if you just get this mic and you need to get a cloud lifter, then you got to run extra cables. You got to buy the fucking activator, which is $100. So then
you might as well just get the new joint.
You're going to end up spending $500 anyway. So, but yeah, I do have one of the ones with the activator in it in my vocal booth. Okay. And it works fine.
Oh, you use this for vocals too?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So.
Is that what did you use that for the record you pressed with the Hellbender? Is that what you used?
No. So actually that was, all those vocals were through a Neumann.
Oh.
Yeah. Not mine. We went to a studio.
Was it a U87?
I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head which one it was. I could look it up, but because I remember recording on it and I was like, I'm going to take a picture of this. And then I looked up, I was like, I'm not buying that.
Was it 10 racks?
No, I think it was I think it was around 4.
4.
Yeah. Which is
some of them joints is 10, 15 racks, bro. I'm like, yeah, not for one mic.
Yeah.
That's 20 MacBooks for 50 years.
Yeah, no, it was nice. It was nice. All right. So I know I gotta let you go here. You got things to do, and we're just talking shop here now.
Yeah.
All right.
I love this, man.
Before I let you go, is there anything else that you want to let the good people of the internet know, my friend Bus?
I don't really have much at the moment, but you can always tap into me on my Instagram. It's just Buscrates.
Yeah.
You can always tap in there. I update my stuff pretty regularly there whenever I can. I just met Rick Seaback yesterday for the first time. And he was so kind and generous. He took a picture of me. It was the last thing I posted on my IG. I was like,
hell yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Met him over at Willie's warehouse, the vinyl spot over in Swissvale.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, we were out there.
Well, if you see Buscrates out and about, hit him up.
Hit me up.
Say hello.
Say what's up.
If you are a musician looking to collaborate with somebody, hit him up.
Hit me up. I'm here.
Yeah. Let's get him back in the community. Not that he wasn't in the community, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I'm around.
Let's have fun.
I'm approachable. I'm around.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna turn my nose up. I'm not like,
Uh-huh.
oh, he's Buscrates. He ain't got no time to me. No.
Yeah.
Holler at me. Hit me up.
Go catch him DJing somewhere. He's always out and about.
Yeah, I'm at Bad Sauna today. Next week I'm at Sunday Disco Sunday over at Trace. Yeah, so
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm out here.
Well, with all of that being said, that is all, folks. Thanks so much for being here one more time. Buscrates.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will be back again next week with another episode, same time, same place, same channel. You know the drill. My name is Brian Sykes-House. Start the Beat is the podcast. 2025 is the year. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Take care of the people around you. Peace out. We did it. That was a podcast. Hell yeah. Happy Easter.
Yes.